because Frederiksted needs its own senator. It needs to have representation. Right now, it doesn't have any real representation, as you know, because the way we elect senators now, everybody gets 7 votes for, there'll be 20 senators running, right? And the highest vote getters will become the senators. And so once they're in, they don't have any particular allegiance or any interest in representing any one of the smaller, more specialized sections of the island. They're looking at it overall. But even worse, you will never hear any critical debate between senators. If you go to the gubernatorial debates, they're all talking about each other. The governor's saying this to Albert Bryan, I'm saying something to the governor, and there's like this interaction back and forth. You go to the senatorial debates, they just stand there by themselves, give their own little speeches as if nobody else is there, and as if nobody else has ever run. You could have some senator who had the worst possible record, and somebody right next to him, when it's his turn to talk, won't say a word. Okay, so why is that? Because the senators know that you will all have 7 votes. Okay, and this senator, who is so bad, is still going to get a few thousand votes from people. And he might be your first choice, in spite of what he did. Well, so I'm not going to get your first vote, but I need your second vote, your third vote, or your fourth vote. So I better not say anything bad about your senator, or you're not going to give me your next votes down. In the gubernatorial race, you get 1 vote. And we're all competing for your 1 vote. If we don't get that, it's over. Okay, I'm not worried about your second, third, or fourth vote, so if Albert Bryan's your first choice, I'm trying to get your vote from him. I'm not saying, okay, that's your first vote, but what about your second vote? So I better not say anything. It doesn't work that way. But in the senatorial debates, it does. And when they run for office, they will not say a word about each other. Okay, and the only way to change that, and so there's no accountability. Any senator can do anything. No other senator will ever criticize him because they're looking for his 4th or 5th vote when they run, right? Okay, and so the only way to change that is to make it the same way we do for governor, which is the same way representatives are elected in the states and all the cities and towns and everything else. You have a geographic district, and each district everybody gets 1 vote to vote for the senator in your district. And so in St. Croix, I proposed 3 districts: east, west, and middle. So Frederiksted would be in the west district. So there'd be senators running for office in Frederiksted. Hey, there might be 4 of them or 5 of them. It's okay. They're still going to be highly critical of each other because they're competing for your 1 vote. If you live in this district, you're going to get 1 vote. And one of those 4 or 5 will win, and that will be your senator. And they'll be accountable, and that will be your go-to person. You've got a problem with motor vehicles, you've got a problem somewhere else, you don't have to figure out which of 7 senators to go to. You go to this person. And then if you're unhappy with how they've taken care of the roads or your distribution of funding, vote them out, vote somebody else in. And it'll just be kind of a normally functioning legislature. Well, the legislature we work with, this at-large system, which is what it is for the 2 big islands, is entirely dysfunctional. It can't work. If you put that same system in Baltimore would have the same problem. But what happens is nobody realizes that's the reason our legislature is a failed legislature. Instead, they blame us. They blame the victims. Why don't you vote some better people in? Okay, it's not our fault. This system was imposed on us by the Organic Act, by Congress, and it's been changed, but it's still an imposed system. And then, when it doesn't work, it's like our fault. It's not our fault. And they gave us no way to change it. Now, on paper, there is a way to change it. It's called the Constitutional Convention process. But we've tried to change that 5 times and failed. So, for all practical purposes, it can't be changed. Again, they blame us. Oh, if you were good, you could have made this thing work. It's like, give us a normal process to change it like any state has to change their state constitution. You get signatures, you get a majority, you vote on it, you get so many votes, it changes. Not just...
Please turn off all phones.
Yeah, okay, and so we don't need a constitution. The Organic Act is fine if we can change it. So we need to have an amendment. The problem is the amendment process, not the Organic Act. We need a way to change it. And all we have to do is copy any one of the 50 states' amendment processes for their state constitution and it'll work just fine. So what we've got to do is go to Department of Interior, and as Elizabeth reminds me, we have to work with all the Senate and the delegate, and we work together. And the Department of Interior, they're our guardians. We explain what we need to be successful, because if we're successful, they're successful. Their success is measured by our success, and our success includes all the territories, American Indians. They want all these groups to be successful because that's their job, to make them successful. And then they will work with us to go to the proper people in Congress to get this Organic Act changed so that we can have a normal functioning legislature and move on. They've done this over 3 times, I think 3 times, maybe 4 times they've changed the Organic Act to try and make things better here. So that's the process they understand, and that's what that's how we're going to work it. And so instead of trying to go up through Congress, that's the hard path to do. We've got to go up through Interior. The Secretary of Interior is a cabinet level position, sits next to the President, and then down through Congress. And that's proper channels to get these things done.
Can I ask, do we have the Plaskett and the group that she has with her, whether they're drivers or whatever, do they have the knowledge of compliance and how to change this Organic Act since it's failed so many times? I mean, obviously they're not doing it properly.
Right. Well, they don't have any leadership from here, any vision from here to follow. They're at odds on things. The delegate and the governor are at odds. They're not working together. Now, Stacy she came down here to work for Hunt Logan because he needed another lawyer in his office to work with me. And so she was assigned to my account for a year. So we have a good working relationship, and we can work together very well, get things done. And she's extremely capable lawyer, well trained, and delegates, lawyers understand that they're there to carry out the will of the people, and especially if it makes perfect sense, right? And so
does she know about this plan, about the districting? I mean,
I've talked to her about it over the years, but she's never had any support or initiative from either the governor or the Senate on this. Okay,
and does she have to have that support from them to do this?
Yeah, the governor particularly. Now, the Senate, you can understand, they're a product of the failed system. So,
and they're not going to want to change it because.
Yeah, so the failed.
They want those 7 votes and not the 1. But.
Yeah, they like it. They might like it this way, but we know it's not for the benefit of the people. And in a referendum, people have already voted for districting and to reduce the Senate, do something. People are very unhappy. So Congress might say, okay, look, we like this idea, but you need to have a referendum. Fine, I'm sure it would pass easily. Now, if you look at the total number of senators I'm talking about, it's 7. 3 districts here, 3 districts on St. Thomas, and 1 on St. John. St. John needs its own representative even more than Frederiksted because they've never had one. Their senator is voted on by the other 2 islands. Okay, their votes are inconsequential. And so if we need to know what do the people of St. John think about Caneel Bay, we hardly have anywhere to go. I mean, there's no elected official responsible for St. John that can say, okay, the people who elect me want, this is what they want. Okay, we just don't have that. And they have their own unique and special things that they need that they don't have anybody, an elected official in the legislature representing them, period. And so anyway, so that's 7 senators. Now that's a reduction in the Senate from 15 to 7. But the whole point of this is not to reduce the Senate. If you just reduce the Senate from 15 to 7, but we elected them the same way, everybody at large, you each got 3 votes instead of 7, no, we got the same problem. Okay, the main focus is geographic districts where you vote for somebody in your district who's accountable. When I look at the districts in St. Croix, it lends itself to 3 districts, I think. Be about 12,000. How many voters in each district? We have 25,000 voters total. That's 8,000 or 9,000 voters in each district. It's one person for 8,000 or 9,000. That's okay. And same thing with St. Thomas. Now, St. Thomas, they're not quite. Be more pie-shaped. The Charlotte or Molly district would be kind of like a pie shape, so you don't break up neighborhoods, and then you have east and west. Okay, so west and east, and it would. And it works just fine. and they will get real representation also. Now, there are some people who think 7 senators isn't enough. It's too much power. You have to, whatever. It's not impossible that might happen, but if that turns out to be the case, I think it'll be fairly easy to get it raised. If we had a problem with only 7 and we wanted to go to 9 or 10 or more, it's easy to do. It's much harder to bring it down than to bring it up. So I think as a starting point, given the size of the population, 8,000 or 9,000 voters per senator, it just seems to me a reasonable starting point. Okay, and the amount of power the legislature has, I'm not sure what that even means. Okay, you're going to be representing your district, you're going to be accountable. If senators get together to do something, that's good. It means the districts are getting together for their own good to do something. I don't see this problem we're talking about. Yeah, go ahead.
It sounds
Yeah.
romantic and everything about the district thing, but I think that we need not rush into making something. Do we have all the facts in terms of there has to be some trade-offs? I.e., I've heard in the States about gerrymandering, how districts are tailored to benefit a certain districts, and the district lines are moved according to that. I.e., as an example, East End has the higher tax base, so would they not to want to have a stronger voice and a larger district voice or vote?
Yeah.
How do we go around that? How do you go around that Mid-Island is the lowest tax bracket, and so how would they be equally represented other than just having a representative? So I think there's we need not rush to a decision.
Yeah.
I agree. It sounds good that we need to redistrict,
they're gonna
but
be,
accountability.
Yeah, it'll be based on population, so it's one man, one vote. It's not $1, one vote. And so the representative out east won't have any more power than the person in the center. They don't get their own money. That all goes to the general fund.
Yeah.
It's like St. John. It's not going to have more power. They put a lot more money in per capita, but they don't. It just goes to the general fund. That's not going to change. But at least they'll have a say in what's going on. And so, and so it's look. You don't walk in as governor and the next day you change it. You propose it to the legislature.
Right.
You put it out for discussion. It goes out to town hall meetings where maybe somebody will show up. and these are important things, and then that might take 6 months, right?
We actually have the vote, though. We vote our people. We're in the states. You're voting in delegates and that type of thing, and that's what the division is. So it's totally different political.
Yeah, and to gerrymander, it's usually political parties doing it. So we don't have that issue of the different political parties want more votes than other political parties. So it doesn't apply the same way it applies in the states. But it's still something to watch for.
Yeah.
So we just
But
have
if
the
it's by
popular vote.
population, it doesn't really matter much where they are unless this population are Democrats and this is Republican. You want a couple more Republicans here, so you grab that little piece or something.
Yeah.
We don't have that. It doesn't work that way here. It might someday, and that might turn out to be a problem someday, but nothing's forever, right? As problems develop, who knows what the problems will be in 20 years. You have to adapt, and you have to have a document that you can change as things develop over time. And we don't have that. The organic act can't be changed. We've tried, it fails. We need a way to change it so we can evolve. Yeah. Okay. And so anyway, so this was about, that was what this meeting was about. Number one, to put forth my proposals and arguments for districting and how we need that to transform the legislature and transform the electoral process, where we'll get some confrontation, some critical interaction between the candidates. And that way we'll get information. They won't give us information right now because it hurts them, it works against them. They need your second, third, and fourth vote. They're not going to give you information about your favorite candidate. Okay, so.
Can I ask you one question?
Yep.
Don't you think this is a perfect time to try to get that through, since we're losing so many senators this year, since all of them decided to run for governor?
Yeah. Well, we've also lost a lot of people. And
No,
so,
but I'm saying, isn't that kind of time now that there's the vote inside the Senate is our opportunity now for that to happen?
Yeah, the new senators might be more amenable than the old ones. Sure. We'll see who gets in. I think probably.
Wasn't there something just taken, though, that they were, there was going to be like 6 in
Yeah, so
write-ins?
we did get a petition for districting, and I signed it because it's better than what we have. But, it's 1/10 of the way towards where this goes. So the
Where is
change,
this petition and who's
it went around and
eligible
it
to
got
sign this?
5,000 signatures. It's already done. They've already been signed. It's
okay.
already going to be on the ballot.
Oh, they got enough. Okay.
Well, the legislature now has the option to change it or something. I don't know. It's very wishy-washy.
How long would it take to change over to districting
Oh.
from the way it is now?
You know, we'd
We
be
have
ready
to wait till the next.
next election
Next.
cycle. Yeah, it'll be after this one. Well, good evening. So, well, we just finished the districting discussion. So,
I'll tell you about it later. It's good.
but so the next thing that I wanted to talk about was, and they're gung ho, and they've done this for Hurricane Sandy, and they've done it for others. And they're ready to. They love it. That's why they're there. Let them work for us there, and get it done that way. Okay, and so anyway, they thought that was the right way to do it.
So you're saying stand up a cell in DC or wherever outside of here because of what you said.
We have to do it where the best people are,
Right,
because they're
I
not coming
agree.
here.
They're in Washington and they have it in
And
Washington.
look,
They have
one of those kids
compliance
who's 34 years old. He's been doing it since he got out of college for 14 years, and computer whiz and the whole thing. And he's done it 5 times. He's going to do it 5 times faster than we can do it.
Yeah.
We've never seen it before. We've never seen the software for the computers. You know, our computers go out because WAPA goes out. Okay. These people are set up, ready to go, and they go hard. And that's what they do, and they love it. They do it all day long. They work long hours, and they all hang out together. They all know each other. They're all friends in Washington. And
So you mean hire them as like a consultant or employees of the
employees or contract.
help with compliance.
Get them on a 2-year contract or whatever. They work, on contracts usually. They're employees. They function like employees, but it's not lifetime.
So good.
And the delegate staff has room for 18 people. Okay, and so I'm sure she needs some people for what she's doing, but I think this is more important. And then she would be the legal. She's a great lawyer, so to be able to watch the paperwork, that's what lawyers are good at.
Oh no, I agree.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
paperwork needs to be done someplace besides here. Because
Well,
it doesn't
just-
get done
When
here.
we say paper, so we have a friend from Vermont who had $300,000 or $400,000 in FEMA money, and it's been 2.5 or 3 years. And the last thing they made him do, he had to send in 1,300 pages. This is a little town in Vermont trying to find people to do it. You want the pros in Washington to do that for you.
And they lost it. He had to resubmit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
FEMA lost
he
it.
lost it?
FEMA lost it.
Well, clearly
wow.
we live with examples every year. Every department that receives federal funding,
Yeah.
the biggest complaint you hear is that they failed to execute the federal funding that's appropriated, and it goes back to Washington. And that's just on a normal day-to-day, year-to-year operation. Now with the crisis that we just went through,
Yeah.
clearly it can't be business as usual. And so a program like what you're saying has to be in place.
You know what one of them told me? Our check writing office only writes checks 2 days a week, like Tuesdays and Thursdays or something. He said, with all these people down here, we're going to have to be writing thousands of checks. We can't do it. We don't have enough people to write the checks. So even functions like that have to be scaled up. Everything has to be scaled up. To what
That's
you're
even
saying.
grants. Dr. Mills, Dr. Kimberly Mills there, she just had a rush to get an $11 million grant that we were getting ready to lose.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's so many grants that we're losing, that we're losing the money that could be being used for so many
Yeah.
things here.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't let that happen.
Well,
You'd hire the proper staff, I would assume.
Look, I'm doing this to give this a good faith effort to get these things done. It's not because I want the job or need this job. This job will probably kill me. Okay.
How does that make you feel?
I feel like I volunteer. You're a good shot, and you're in shape, and so you're patriotic. So you volunteer to go to Afghanistan. But if they don't take you, it's okay. But if you get in, I'm going to do a good job. It's going to be. It's not going to be easy.
If for some reason you don't,
Yeah.
are you willing? Like you said, they haven't come to you in the past when you said they like you to, but
I
is
always
there a way
say.
you still could work with them somehow?
Yeah, I always
to-
say yes, and if they do it, fine. I'm not saying they won't do it, but I'm just saying if history's any guide, it's doubtful. But
I mean, everything you're
hopefully.
just saying is just common sense.
Look,
and
I
it's
don't
just-
want any money. I just want a title. I want to be the finance minister so I can go to that meeting in Davos every year and
Okay.
hang out with those guys.
Okay.
I'll pay for
Finance
I'll pay
geek,
for I'll
go
pay
for
for the
it.
trip.
Yeah. So how are we going to get you elected?
As I say, with,
As a by
with-
other
with-
than us voting for
with-
number 7.
yeah, with great difficulty. I can do all this, but that doesn't mean it's the most important thing people vote for. There-
Exactly.
if
That's
you're
what
clo-
I'm
if
gonna
you're-
figure out how
Look,
to
if you're a
change.
very close relative to somebody running, I understand you support your family.
You know, the problem with tonight is you're in Frederiksted, because I know a lot of people that would have loved to be here, but
Yeah.
tomorrow is their Sabbath, and so Friday nights they don't come out.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. There
Really?
are a couple of our days Sabbath. A lot of Islanders that have registered to vote, as I was telling Warren, with that.
Uh-huh.
But
Well,
this is their Sabbath is
the
tomorrow,
video will be online.
right? But a lot of them don't. No, I'm just saying
So
is
you're,
on a.
so you're talking about Jewish.
No, I'm talking about the Sabbath with the Seventh Avenue. The people that live in
Sabbath.
Frederiksted, all that.
Seventh
Their
Avenue,
Sabbath
yeah.
is on Saturday,
I think
and
you're
so they don't come out on Friday nights, and they don't do
Thank you
things.
for watching.
So
Oh, sorry.